don't want you necessarily trying all this graphic design stuff at home unsupervised. However, I do think, wait, Sammy's making me put these on, and they are thematically appropriate to what we are doing. Now, I push this button on the side. I can't see anything. Just a minute. This allows me, oh, I'm capturing all of you. So now, this is very appropriate to what we're going to talk about. Can I click this off now? Okay, we didn't practice that part. All right, let's do this. Graphic Design Act 2. I'm going to start again and ask you one question. You've had 3 days of thinking about this. Do you want those right clients that you dream about to work with you, to want to work with you? Well, of course you do. Okay? But you want to make it easier for that to happen. And I think that's something we can all agree to and say yes to. So what we're going to start with is a quick review of what we've talked about with the graphic design safety nets. We went through what it is. We went through what it does. We went through how it works. So you have your creativity, you must have a system, your team must know, and when all that happens, oh wow, you have some growth. We showed you a process that you can use. And now, we're going to look at the result, where all of your pieces fit together on brand, on time, on target, on the server, on budget, everywhere that they belong. So now, would that feel great? This is the part where you nod. Craig, I'm counting on you. Thank you.
I'm here for you.
How? I know you are. I made him sit right in the front. It's really, really important to channel this to your team. How many of you people have somebody or many people on your team? What is their big driving force? Who can tell me? What do they really want to do? They want to please you. They want you to be proud of them. They want to do it right. They want to read your mind. They want to do everything you want them to do. This is a way to help them do that. We talked about being a designer. We talked about how this works. I'm telling you, you don't need to be a designer. You do need to know how to talk to a designer. You do need to know how to communicate your vision. You do need to know how to, as we talked about it, be a director. So today, thanks to my glasses, I'm going to teach you how to become a design spy. Designers use 8 tools. And we're going to talk about these. To be a tool, to be a spy, do you want to be like this guy? Is this the one you want? Or do you want to be like this guy? Who knows, thank you. Who knows I know my market. Who knows exactly what to say. So today, we're going to look at what it takes. On your tables, there is a booklet for this. You don't have to rip it open. You'll take it with you. It fits in your pocket. You will have all of this with you. You see, there we go. We're diving into the booklets. Over here, guys. See, I told you if we put them on the tables, they would look. Okay, this is a base page. Look with me. The words on this page, is any word bigger, smaller? It's all the same. It's a sea of gray, right? There are 8 ways designers change things. Let's take a look. First thing, look at the difference. All I changed here is the size. That is something you can think about to emphasize keywords. Size. Now, let's not do size, and let's only change the shape. What is the shape that changed? Roman, italic. That was a way of emphasizing. What about this one? Much easier. We all can see weight a mile away. If you emphasize only by changing the weight without changing the size, key pieces stand out. Here's an easy one, color. People use color like a salt shaker. Let's make this red, let's make this green, let's make this blue. When everything's in color, what stands out? Discrete use of color. Choosing words wisely. If you look at this, you notice the less important words like date and place and time are in the lighter color. Now let's talk about the harder ones. This one's tone. What is tone? Tone is the gradations. Black with type reversed out, lighter gray, darker gray, but it's all the same size as that original page. Texture, squish it together, stretch it apart, create a texture with those messages. And this one, which is very obvious, which is position and orientation. So let's click through these quickly. In isolation, you can change the size, change the shape, change the weight. You can change the color, the tone, the texture, and the position or orientation. These are the tools, but does it work exactly this way? No, because we have to put it in combination. So what does that start to look like? When I take size, shape, and weight, I start to see a different kind of emphasis from the same content. What about just size and texture? See the texture from the space in between those lines? Now, you don't have to know how to do this, you have to know how to communicate it. Oh, now we've got color working for us. We've got gray zones working for us. We've got italic working for us. Now, let's look at it, and we've got size, shape, weight, color, tone, texture, and position. It's getting stronger, right? You see that texture running down the side? Now, we've got position and orientation added to the mix. Who can see where the orientation is? Bing. Differentiate, thank you. That was not an accident on my part that was the word. But do you see how subtle some of these changes are? What's really important here is that you understand how to communicate them. Now, you're never going to start with this as broken down as I've shown you here. We've deconstructed this so that you can understand it more easily. Now, let's start all together like an orchestra. All of these tools are what a designer uses to capture your vision. You're going to see 4 different visions of this very same content. First is, we're changing the font. This is a serif font. It's got some strong graphic lettering. We added a big, subtle red dot of color. Here's another treatment. This one is based on graphic voices. We took the message and we used a graphic device to communicate it as a conversation. And here we go with it as an image. Incorporating an image as the background can make a significant difference. So this is what you have as a design spy. You've got your pocket poster on the table. The key to this is sharing this information. When you're sitting with a designer, you can say, that's the most important part. Can you put that in a heavier weight? Oh, you just used your design secrets. If you say, you know what, that's the least important stuff. Let's, like, I don't know, a disclaimer. Could you please put that in the tiniest type possible? Whenever we work with you guys, we get 3/4 of every substrate because the bottom always gets this. Okay, this is what it takes to be a design spy. Anybody have any questions about this front part of it? Because we're going to do 3 things today. Being a design spy was the first piece. Anything that was unclear? Anybody awake? You know, I was very irresponsible letting you party like you did last night and then bringing you in here at 9:05. I don't know where my head was. Okay, now let's shift gears a minute. Graphic design safety nets in action. I'm going to talk to you about 2 different scenarios in your wheelhouse. Please understand that the names have been changed to protect the differentiation. I made up these names. And I made them up because this is a really real deal, guys. You're in a sea of similarity like we talked about. I'm a designer. Our company works with many companies like yours. I am never going to stand up here and say, oh, look, this is what Craig did. Anybody want to take a screenshot of that? Then 10 of you can do what Craig did. This is about differentiation, but it's also about protection of your brands. So what I've done here is there were 2 firms. We did this work. We had their permission to modify them generically to protect the innocent. Okay, so let's take a look. The first one, look at this fabulous title I made up. Wealth management. Here's a hint. The W was a proper name. So it wasn't wealth management, but I'm doing this universally. This was the logo that we received. Look familiar? Ringing any bells? I gotta tell you, these guys have a little R by their name. But this, he wanted green for money, he wanted gold for wealth, and the W and the M meant so much to him. Okay, we moved forward in a different direction. Do you see the W? Do you see the M? Remember I told you the other day that I would show you an example where somebody actually wanted orange? I want you to look at how tastefully we threaded that through. We protected the green, we protected all of that. We retired the gold because it's a very, very hard color. You can reverse out of many colors. Gold's hard. Well, it's also very important. Okay, take a look. In branding and collateral, look at how this identity is starting to work, down to the little mailing label on the puffy blue envelope. A lot of you laughed about the cocktail napkins last night. I wanted to put something in the bathrooms so that I was carrying the brand, but everyone got mad at me and said I couldn't do toilet paper. I will tell you, I can. I chose not to. But branding and collateral, a lot of you said, every detail. Guys, that's what this is. It's every detail from that big vision down to every single thing. You're gonna get a little treat, those triangle toys you're already playing with, the little highlighters with the little fidgets on the end. Every little nuance is what reinforces your brand. Branding and collateral. Let's look at how else we did this. Outreach and appreciation for their clients when somebody came on board. This is what they did when they ran a workshop, when we built a poster. Branding in the office. When somebody comes into that conference room, they're on their coasters. It's on their portfolio. What about those client events? I told you I would talk about golf. Look at these items we created with them. Do you see their logo on the golf ball? No. Do you see their logo on the glove? And we did lefties and righties, in case you're asking. And do you see it on the golf tees? How often do you think somebody's going to keep a golf ball with your logo on it? Versus, oh, I love that, we're on the ball. They had some other suggestions, might I say, that I did nix. Gotta hand it to you. Think about what these are. These are things that reflect the recipient, and they tied to the event. Okay? Same thing with their website. If you notice all those squares, all those diamonds, we applied meaning to 8 of them. These are their 8 columns, their 8 buckets, their 8 areas of specialization. I will tell you, I urged them to pick 6. 8's a lot. Didn't win that one. And that's the other key to pay attention to. When you are the graphic designer, it is your job to, it is my job when I do this, to suggest to you, to tell you why I think you might want to think about something. But the bottom line is it's your company. And if you come back and say, no, Randy, we need 8, then my job changes and it becomes, how do we give them the 8 in the best possible, clearest way? Because you know your business better than anybody else. Okay, PowerPoint deck. Look at how this is all tied through by color. Notice how small the typography is. Very few bullets, never more than 5. Notice the diamonds have their diamond in it. Now let's shift to another company, Capital Catalyst LLC. Another name we made up, but the C is actually very legitimate. Okay, this is what their physical, digital, and print materials look like. Notice the continuity. Notice the coffee cup at the bottom. What's it say? It says strong coffee, stronger future. Their logo is a pattern. It doesn't scream Capital Catalysts. It's about it gives a smile when they pick up that cup. It's also very universal. because you can take it to a golf outing, you can take it to a shredding event, you can have it anywhere, and you can have 5,000 of these in your back coat closet. And the rule is hide 3 sleeves because you're never going to remember to reorder. Okay, events. Notice how every piece of this event relates to the people there on the left side. And on the right side, it's all about the business. This is the nuance of the branding. And here's what you have to think about. Sometimes it's really, really important to brand. Okay, if you're doing some sort of a digital billboard, if you are doing some sort of a white paper, or you are doing something that is on your website, branding matters. When don't you brand? You don't brand when it is about the people you're reaching out to. Strong Coffee, Stronger Future on all their postcards and their digital campaigns. When you're gifting your clients something because you're welcoming them on board, My Bigger Future Starts Now is all about them. And the coffee cups and the coasters, we never coast, and sip on this big idea can show universally your brand at a less branded level. Think about what I just said. It shows your brand at a less branded level. And what that does is it morphs from being about you to being about them, because every one of you is going to tell me your focus is on your clients. So your visuals, your graphics, your messages, every piece of that is part of it. So make it about them. They will remember it came from you. All right, let's talk about publishing support. Everybody wants to write a book. You write a book, you go on stage, you need things for speaking. That's where your brand ties in. You need some documentation so people on your team understand how to use it and how not to use it. Brand Documentation 101. How many of you got a branding guideline that you've ever received from a designer? How many of you understand all the stuff that's in there? Doing brand documentation has to be something that you could read to a 5-year-old. This is what I do with this. This is what I don't do. This is what my color looks like when I'm printing. This is what my color looks like digitally. A brand documentation should be easy to understand. Okay, campaigns. We talked about this before. How do you take a concept and thread it through? Notice how this company did it. They did quarterly postcards. They took 4 retirement worries. On the front, they stressed the worry. On the back, they articulated it and they told a solution. They added valuable content, not we're your solution. They offered them valuable content, okay? And then finally on the website. All right, so let's look at this. They also do things like PowerPoint animations. Now, I want you to see this, and I want you to see the animations here. Because as I'm talking to you, you're going to be talking to someone, and you're going to have a PowerPoint deck in front of you, most likely. When you do, where do you want those people to look? Right? You have to have something that gives them, what does this do? I don't have to read this to know. You've got a process. You've got a plan. It's only 5 steps. I can feel secure about that and then turn and transfer and look right at Craig, who's going to talk to me. That's what these are about. You are never reading your PowerPoint. Okay. Now, let's look at another way to deal with a process graphic. Notice how this rolls out. Very simple, very limited. But there's an image behind. Can you tell that's the market they're after? Here they are with another version of a process graphic. It's branded, it carries their colors. Yes, we did break down and use the gold here, but notice how dark that gold is. And that's why the example I'm going to show you is how they use it in their deck. Notice that each section can pull out and then they can talk about it. Okay, these 4 advisory practices, they had 4 big fat challenges. And their challenge, they were not big. One of them had 7 people, and one was brimming with 11 if you counted his nephew. And his nephew came in over the summer, over Christmas break, and in between semesters. Now that kid will probably be running the business one day. But the reality is these are not enormous companies. Anybody in this room have a business with fewer than 12 people? Uppy, uppy go the hands. How many with fewer than 20? How many over 20? How many of you don't know how to raise your hand? Okay, I'm doing that math, and I know we're not all here. But here's the reality. Is it easy to run a company of 20 people? Oh, it's tough. I mean, I've done it in the basement by myself. That was great. I could have a meeting in the bathtub and everyone would be present. But the reality is when you are working and adding people, every person you bring on your team changes your dynamic. But they had challenges. They had challenges of how do I economically appreciate those clients I don't want to lose? I can't play like the big boys. I can't send Cutco knives. What am I going to do? That was one problem. And that's a constant problem we hear about. Another one is how on earth do I recruit and hire top talent? Talent acquisition is a really big deal. Yes? Yes. Is that one that keeps you up at night? Okay, the next piece. What is the true cost of losing a team member? You see those triangles on the table? I picked the triangular shape for one reason. When you hire somebody, who's doing the work in the first 18 months? Who's pushing everything into that new team member? Who's investing the most? You are. The hope is then it can go the other direction and they can apply what you have taught them, what you've invested in them, so that they can move forward and benefit your organization. Sadly, that's when a lot of people take off. What's the average cost of losing a key employee after 18 months? Is it upwards of 100 grand? Is it upwards of 200 grand? Does it tick you off? Do you feel played? The key is you've got to trust that you're hiring well. And people think, when they are interviewing, think back to when you interviewed for a job. Who did you think wanted it more? You or the company? You thought, oh, if I could just get this job. Do you have any idea that the person sitting on the other side of the table was saying, oh, if I could only fill this job? It's the same, and the cost of losing a trained team member is high. So team retention and talent acquisition are as critical as the appreciation of your top clients. This is what I've heard, and I've heard it over and over again. I've also heard that we've felt too small to play well against the big boys in these areas. I can't compete with what so-and-so's offering. You shouldn't compete. Be you. Offer what you can offer that's totally different. And out of these 4 steps, and a lot of you have been by our booth, and by the way, if you haven't been by our booth, Ellie is standing over there with your red bags. I do not want to name names, but if you have not picked up your bag, I will know because there was a name for each of you. Please, no, I know you're laughing, but I'm serious. What is in that little 7 by 7 by 2 box is it's a graphic design safety kit right there for you. Shows you examples of everything. Pick them up before you leave. But here's the key. When you guys have been to our booth, you saw those boxes. Those boxes came from your challenges. We need a way not just to appreciate, this is all for clients, right? Oh, I'll send thinking of you boxes. I'll send birthday boxes. I'll send welcome boxes. Absolutely. Should you be sending thinking of you boxes to that candidate you really want to hold? You really want to say yes to you? Look, if they're that good, chances are they're interviewing with how many firms? Just you? chances are you're in competition to win that hire. Birthday boxes. How do you think your team members would feel if you sent a box for their birthday to their home with a note from you? Now here's the secret about the birthday box. It's all the same. Do you want to go into that break room? Oh, I got bookends. You did? I got a pickleball paddle. Wonder what that cost. You know, the Amazon sticker was still on it. Think about it. The continuity, the equitability, that's real important. And the welcome box itself, it's not just for new hires and new clients. It's to recognize and have a great place. Who wants to wear your swag? How many of you have swag quarter zips? Okay. How many of you have swag mugs with your logo? Name me some other things with your logos on it that are in that front hall closet where the coat hangers are. Pens. What else? Hats. That's also a good one. What else? Okay. Is it cheap or are you spending a lot of money? What's the average value of a gift you give to somebody that's got your logo on it? It's a lot. It's a lot. What I want you to think about is, where is that hat? Now, granted, I carry my Genius Network backpack because I'll tell you why. Don't tell Joe. It is the best backpack. I mean, Brittany, she was in here. Isn't it the best backpack ever? That's why I carry it. But for the most part, I would carry that backpack if it didn't have that name on it. This is one way that people can compete when you are a smaller business. This is what your job is when you're working with a graphic designer, is to communicate your pain points in such a way that they can apply their creativity to help solve a problem, a systemic problem. Okay, let's talk about Brittany. Brittany said to you the other day, was that only yesterday, when she said to you, I want you to think about the 12 months. I want you to think about 3 things. I want you to start with 1 thing. How many of you have done that? How many of you feel like, okay, I know what I'm going to walk out of here and do with my team when I get back? Do you know what your teams are thinking? I'll give you what they're thinking, because this is what always happens to me when I come to these things. Oh my God, Randi's back in the office on Thursday. She is going to walk in here, and that woman is going to have 700 things, 4 sticky notes, something written in red, and she's going to say, here's the plan. Am I wrong, Ellie? No. Sammy? No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aaron's just quake. Right. Am I? No. Yeah, I know. The key is your 1 thing. And we didn't even, it's scary. Well, it's not scary. We didn't even talk about this. But in that packet with your design spyware, with your poster that you can keep up with your size, shape, weight, color, tone, texture, and position orientation strategies, there is a 2025 graphic design planner in there. It's not fancy. It's not big. It's got a cool cover. It's about your safety net. But there are 4 things. Look at those 4 arrows across the top. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Here's what it looks like. It's a simple fold over, 6 inches by 12 inches. Finding, keeping, recruiting, appreciating, hosting. 5 areas that you can pick from. You can also cross it out and add your own. But these are the keys. Barry, you even have one in your little packet. You're good. The key, though, is how you use it. And now I'm going to show you the trick. Here, start with your 4th quarter results. What do you want to create? What has to happen by the end of 3rd quarter for that to be a realization at 4th quarter? What has to happen by the end of 2nd quarter? How much progress has to be made? And what do I have to do when I walk back in that office on Thursday? Well, the first thing I got to do is I got to figure out if I'm really committed to it. And if I'm really committed to it, I got to figure out how to explain it. This is one simple, small thing you can use. Take this back, photocopy it, give it to your team. When you share something, if somebody's going to own one of those 5 boxes, how are they going to work backwards? How are you going to help them? What is your job as the director? Your job is to make sure everybody aligns with that big vision. And something as simple as this can help everybody be on point. Okay? So you've got 3 things today. You've got your little poster, your little size, shape, weight, color, tone, texture, position, orientation. You've got your 2025 planner. And I gave you one other little toy. Somebody hold it up. What is it? First of all, did you notice everything I gave you is tiny? Why? Suitcase ready. I also wanted this to be tiny because I want you to keep this on your desk. And the key with the bowling alley, the key with staying in your lane, letting the gutters be a protector, but letting your team have enough room to wiggle left and right, it's a big deal. Keep it on your desk. It's tiny. It'll remind you. People are going to want to play with it. Why do you have bowling pins on your desk? Well, let me tell you. It's a conversation starter. This is what's important, how you tell that story. This reminder will help everybody stay in your lane. But here's the key. Your job is defining that lane, right? Being clear that you're not walking back with 37 different ideas and starting 32 of them and abandoning 106 of them. One thing. If I told you you could only pack one thing and choose one thing. I showed you Mission Impossible, and I did that for a reason. How many people think Mission Impossible and you think Tom Cruise? Okay, I do. I really do. How many of you think Mission Impossible and you think of the classic TV show? Okay, I don't care which Mission Impossible you think of, but remember the stage set. Remember when they would do a sting operation and they would come in and set up the whole computer area and it looked like it was a real company and everything was fine and everyone's doing their job. And then the next day, when the woman comes back with the detective and says, "I swear, officer, it was all right here," and it's all gone, that's an illusion. That creates the environment before it really exists. Do I just like Tom Cruise? Well, I do, but the key here is missions impossible are possible. And with graphic design, you can build. Look at those 2 examples I showed you. Do those look like grown-up, legitimate, fully built companies? Yeah. They could have 2 people behind them. So the reality here is I want you to think about this, and here's what I'm going to offer you. We talked about triple tens. We talked about coming and signing up for 30 minutes. Guys, you don't have to work with me. Sign up for a triple 10 and let's practice. Let me be the one you practice with. It's safe, it's easy, and it will allow you to get your thoughts together. I don't even care if it's not about design. If you just want someone who heard the conference with you to ask you some challenging questions, sign up for this. First 20 people get a treat. I don't want to say anything, but I think you've got a sense of what our treat level is like. I have been honored to be with you. You guys are an amazing, talented, gifted group of people. You welcomed me and my team in a way that I can't thank you enough. And I know you'll just call Randi if, in fact, there's anything you think we can help you with. But think about that practice round. It's very safe haven. It's kind of like attorney-client privilege. I'm not allowed to tell. You're the best. Thank you.